Arabs were actually the first, because when we think of racism, we think of like, white people creating racism. Arabs were probably the first group of people to develop this idea of racial superiority, because not only were Arabs enslaving Black people, but you could read the writings of certain Arabs. Arabs were talking about how Black people are lowly, comparing Black people to animals. And I actually read an article. I don't remember the name of the article now, but the article was actually arguing white people learn racism from Arabs. The article was arguing when the Moors were in Spain, the more, because of the contact between Arabs and Europeans, the Spanish and the Portuguese adopted a lot of the racist traits of Arabs. And it's very interesting because a lot of us, we don't really think of white people as learning racism from Arabs, but I think that's a reasonable argument when you look at the history, because as I said, Arabs were displaying racist tendencies towards African people even before white people were. When you look at the history of Europe, white people actually had very positive things to say about African people. Frank Snowden is a historian. He did a lot of great work on how the Greeks and the Romans viewed African people. And even though the Greeks and Romans were imperialist, for example, they did invade and conquer Egypt, and Egypt was essentially a Roman colony at one point. So the Greeks and Romans were still imperialist, but they didn't have those racist views towards African people. Where we really start to see racism emerge against African people is really from the Arabs, and then after the Arabs, then the Europeans followed. So that also makes the Arab role in Pan-Africanism very difficult, because now you're dealing with the same group of people that, as far as we can tell, they invented racism against African people.